According to the theory of attachment, strong emotional and physical attachment to a significant adult in the first years of life plays an important role in our development if our connection with home and family is firmly there, and we boldly follow the world around us because we know that we have an island of safety where we can return at any moment. If the connection is weak, if there is no safe rear, then we are afraid to go too far and get lost in this terrible world because it is not known whether it will be possible to return. It is believed that it is easier to trust people who are lucky with affection for their relatives, others, and established contacts. They are more successful in life. Those who are unlucky are often distrustful with difficulty making acquaintances and building relationships. Distinguish only one type of reliable attachment and as many as 3 unreliable ambivalent attachment, anxiously avoiding and disorganized in stressful situations. People with the first 3 types of attachment know how not to get lost, and with the 4th they rush and out. Let's look at how this can work in life on the example of the Smith family, in which 4 children, Lucky and Joe, and the men are and Ms. Smith love their children, hug them, support them. Eye contact, does not raise the voice, and always comes to the rescue. But suddenly a serious illness takes the life of Mr. Smith. For Mrs. Smith, hard times come. She works all day and at the same time tries to take care of the children. An impossible task is Luca. He is 6. His brain is almost fully formed. He has a character and worldview to get used to a new life without a father. His mother Lucia helps him know that she is his support, and support between them. A reliable attachment has already arisen, and Luca will grow up an open and optimistic young man with a healthy self-esteem. Em is 3 years old, and she is acutely worried about the lack of attention that has arisen. The mother's behavior seems unpredictable to her, afraid of losing touch, and he reaches out to his mother as best he can to attract her attention. He arranges scenes, gets cranky, and shouts in response to the expected reaction of his mother. He cannot really express his real emotions and behaves distantly. As she grows up, she becomes capricious and fickle. She will lack self-confidence. This is an example of ambivalent attachment. Jock, who is only 2 years old, spends all day with his uncle, loving on, strict with the best intentions. When Joe is too noisy to have fun, Uncle gets angry and can even punish, because of which the baby is scared. To avoid feeling afraid, he learns to hide his other feelings in a variety of situations. Childhood ends in difficulties in relationships with people remain. Joe grew up insecure. This is an anxious and escaping attachment. She is only a year old. They are sent to, if we're already not the best educators, are constantly working beyond the norm, which has a bad effect on their mood. Some simply offend children about the name, is developing anxiety. She is afraid of the very people on whom she depends, and this undermines her idea of love and care. She cannot get rid of fear, so she tries to avoid any social contacts. Growing up, she will consider that it is unworthy of love. Amy will have very low self-esteem. This leads to attachment of a disorganized type. Attachment is formed in the first years of life, when we are not yet we are able to express anxiety, and as a result are very stressed. At these moments, our adrenal glands, the paraendocrine gland, secrete stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Pulse quickens, pressure rises, and we get very excited. If this happens often, passion becomes toxic. Now it can slow down the development of the child's brain and weaken the immune system in the womb or in infancy. Toxic stress can affect the expression of genes that can subsequently affect our health. Let's imagine one strange situation and use it to evaluate the type of attachment of a child already at the age of 1 year. First, let the child play with his mother for a few minutes, then let her leave for a while, and then we will carefully look at how the baby will behave. When she returns with a reliable attachment, the children hug the mother, slowly calm down and take up games again. If the attachment is unreliable, the child does not show unambiguous emotions and does not make contact well. Sometimes the children refuse to play and continue to cry. The long-term effects of children's attachment are described in detail using this theory. Scientists from Minnesota observing children aged 3 years old were able to predict which of them would drop out of school with 77% accuracy. In another study, Harvard students were asked how close they were to their parents, and then later, 35 years old, they were asked about their health status. Those who had a difficult relationship with their mother in childhood in 91% of cases suffered from diseases such as coronary insufficiency, hypertension, and alcoholism. Those who had a warm relationship with their mother reported poor health only in 45% of cases. But there is another reason why the childhood period it is of great importance, that in the first years of life the foundations of behavior are laid for a child from a friendly, loving family. It is easier to find friends in kindergarten. His worldview is enriched by new experiences. He learns to look optimistically at life in the future. He will easily communicate at school, college, and at work. With unreliable attachment, the child may not cope with his tasks. Psychologist John Golub, the founder of the theory of attachment, is credited with such words that you can't tell your mother you can't say about ourselves. That is, an unreliable type of attachment probably prevents us from understanding ourselves, and in order to understand ourselves and our feelings, we will have to look into the past.